against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM. I'm glad to see you here.
Like steel, there is strength there. If she wanted, she could sink her nails deep into your skin.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
There's a trace of irony in his voice. Mischief, even. This is a tactic. It happens quicker than a shooting star. But did the lieutenant just wink at you?
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group. Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, Detective?
'Twas stolen by some artist, surely. Best to pin the blame on them. Everyone knows you can't trust artists. Everyone knows you can't trust artists. They're nearly as bad as clowns.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please. Oh, dear. Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I don't even know how to respond. I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement. Feelings will guide the way.
I assure you, it is no small matter for me either. We all share the responsibility for disarming this situation. I hope you have a badge for me as soon as possible.
She's silent. The wind flaps the sail above her.
Officer. You know, I don't mean to sound cold, but if you want something, you have to give something back. More than just guilt.
You're doing it. Despite your own best efforts, you're still getting in. Somehow.
I'll be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something tangible. The Union is conducting drug trade out of the harbour. It's an open secret in Martinez. Surely it must not come as a complete surprise to the RCM either. Perhaps it's time to look into it. Or you can find your badge. which honestly seems like a lost cause.
Detective, a word in private before we continue. This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective. Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance and, not volunteer us to be her henchman. This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands.
Maybe this is all her plan. She might have heard about you.
I wouldn't go that far. Her reaction did come off as sincere to me. I think she's just quick to adapt. She's a professional, after all. No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we're siding with the Union, or that we're on their take. We'd never hear the end of it. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done and demand for her information on the lynching. Oh, that would be fantastic, but do we have the time? The world is large and your badge is 8 by 6 centimeters.
The situation might have changed drastically by the time you locate it. Time is of the essence.
You could request a new one from your station, but that would literally take months.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets. I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the Union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
No way. She's more. She can make decisions.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The Union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place.
Wait. She just admitted that the lynching and the strike are connected.
Now they won't even let me into the harbor. There's a 2-meter-20 racist behemoth blocking the gates. Yes, I believe there is a connection, but that's a subject for later. What can I say? The Union employs a giant covered in tattoos. A racist giant. I guess that's part of their big tent organization now. Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the Union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the Union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the Union has gone on strike?
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the Union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
Ludicrous even. It's meant.
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh, yes. Every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker, a member of the board. Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal. Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group. I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags, a disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the boyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
This checks out. No, wait. The chief negotiator heard it from a man at the gates. Surely the Wild Pines Group has more effective channels of information. After all, 2,200 people are on strike. This is a big deal for them.
Mr. Clare told him to... how did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see. Yes. Extremely. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union. Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first. Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
If you were to prick it with something sharp, you could see it oozing out. A knife, maybe? No, a rapier.
He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar. Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is... Of course, officer. I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore. Or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
This forewoman, her name?
Sadly, the company records do not even give a name. She's just forewoman in private correspondence, Holly. I don't even know if it's a sir or given name, and I don't have access to the Union's files. Downright haunting, if you ask me. The Wild Pines suspected foul play, but what could they do? It was a Union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Of course. How else can I help? That's the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question. Better not tie the fourth day to the bat's day on this. I hope there is something else I can help you with.
Is what you want to say, but it isn't that easy, is it? Look at that lady. Take a gander. Squint your eyes, bub. Why, yes, tucked away under that sturdy green raincoat, while dull orange pearls hang from her earlobes, red from the cold. Her light green eyes scan you, full of knowledge and worry, wealth and all its possibilities. These are the kind eyes of the rich man that seem to say everything is possible, within reason. Now look at you, you misery-clad simian, barely able to tie your own laces. Your armpits are lakes, a scythe of booze precedes you, your hair sticks to your forehead, and your underwear feels uncomfortable. You're poor, poor as balls. You can't ask this person for money. You're too. Shame? You haven't really been in the presence of gentlefolk either, have you? What shame is there to be felt in front of these dock workers, cops, and hotel clerks, but to belittle yourself in these eyes of Odinil?
As I was saying, if there's any way I may be of assistance, please don't hesitate to ask. Of course, Detective. Take care.
Hello again, officer. How are things?
Bastards! We have a right to work! Hold up and stay frosty, everyone. Cops are here.
You here to fuck with us? Beat the honest worker down. We're here to fight for a cause. Stripes usually have problems with people who have causes. Good. We're fighting for a cause here.
Right to work! Right to work!
Besides, we're not that different. It helps if people see us talking, cops and strikebreakers together. Shows authorities are on our side. Builds confidence. Maybe you should ask them the questions, like why we're not allowed to make a living here.
Shame on you!
We have families to feed, you piece of shit.
So do we, Scott.
Honest men and women, with rights, to work, to be useful, not toys for corporate interests.
We came here to help the harbor run smoothly in time of crisis. If union fucks don't want work, they ought to let in those who do want work.
I have a question. Why do all these men follow your leadership?
You think they follow because I'm big and loud? No. They follow the rules of the market, the rules of the economy, because they were
given a job to do!
We were promised work. We'd be in there, working, if the bastards hadn't shut the gates.
Main gate's locked. Would take heavy ordnance to bust it open. Could try to get in through the secretary's office. Door's locked. The guard's blocking the way to the access panel. And I don't mean the scrawny mess punk either. I mean head measurer. Or whatever he is.
Like civilized folk, you mean? These native fucks don't understand civilized.
It would be better for the neighborhood if you went home, at least for now, if you can't get in anyway.
No! They will give up eventually. Or get drunk. Leave the button unguarded. Then, we charge.
Have fun. Union shits are on full strike. Don't think they're going to let you through the gates. You trying to meet their fat boss?
Right to work!
It's shameful. Cops doing nothing. You should bring backup. Open up the gates for us. Blockading gainful employment for workers is a crime.
We are not picking a side in this just yet, sir.
Pity.
Let us work!
A Stars Ryko, one of the finest Zhimsk-made motor carriages ever. An oldie, but a goldie. Not many people outside of Grad, and Revachol West too, it appears.
A Stas Ryko KK2. That's a classic model. Never thought I'd see another one repainted after what happened last time.
No, only that the motor carriage is typically baby blue. The colors of Sigismund the Great, an ancient Zhimsk ruler. His banners were famously zephyr and white. The colors of the Stars Ryko.
An old case for my precinct. A couple of Zhimsk migrants saw a Stas Ryko stopped in the street, painted just like this, muddy brown. Murdered the driver on the spot. They said it was an honor killing. Hussar style. The James community protested the trial, flying the banners of some old king or whatever. 5,000 came to protest.
Correction. 4,395. The fourth largest public protest of a criminal trial in Revachol.
Is that so, officer? I'll take you at your word. Could it be another Stajrajko murder? Honestly, that just doesn't seem like the type of vehicle our dead guy would drive, so my initial guess is the two are not related.
An old monument stands in the middle of the traffic island, pointing toward the sea. It looks as if it's been reassembled piece by piece, secured and mounted in the air with the aid of numerous ropes and rods.
Yes?
Scab?
You're hazy on the notion of a scab. Smells like politics, though. Maybe it's got something to do with the flask he reaches for from time to time.
I was just messing with you. No one's ever seen a cop scab. Imagine, you cops going on a strike, but then another cop comes in and says, "Let us cop for less money." Speaking of, what brings the RCM here, to the wild north? Come to see the strife? Sure thing, my friend. I can help you out.
The coin lands into your hand as if it has always belonged there. The swallow returns.
Always glad to help out the RCM. Shame I can't do more. Things are meager at the moment due to... You know, the winter's fat is slowly running out and all. Still better than scabbing, though. Nothing to worry about, really. The jam's a bit of a mess, cargo can't get in or out. The rationing is a bit stricter is all. Supplies should last the strike, though. I'm always glad to help out when possible. Not like these slithering scabs. Murder, huh? That sounds like a lot of hard work. You'd never see me investigating a murder. Of course, Policia. It wasn't me. You can rule me out. Easier that way.
He didn't do it. It's the truth.
My friend, I respect the right to roam. The open range awaits. I don't operate in that capacity. I'm not a granter of passage. The passage grants itself.
If it's so simple, why did the scab leader warn you of the guards blocking the way?
Aye. Walk right past Measurehead and go in. Yeah, the 2.5-meter tall Semini supremacist there. Walk right past him, then press the button to unlock the door, then go past him again, and you enter the arbor through the office. Está.
The man whispers a jaunty tune. A coastal breeze ruffles his hair. A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the Saint Baptiste Pharmaceutics logo. Their logo is the bloodless rose, pure white, untouched by harm.
Just ask me if you need anything from Saint Baptiste. We don't stock prescription meds, but we do have Nosafed, Duramine, magnesium, and hypnogamma. I don't know. Let's see. Nosafed is a nasal spray. Duramine is a really good painkiller. Magnesium is a dietary supplement. Hypnogamma is... I don't really know what hypnogamma is. I guess it makes you feel less shit. It's recommended to use after lots of partying, studying, or exercising. Uh-huh. Saint Baptiste, you know. The pharmaceuticals company. Saint Baptiste Pharmaceuticals. The one that sells meds out of Saint Baptiste. That one.
She is right. Saint Baptiste, the company, derives its name from Saint Baptiste, the city. Itself so named because that's what it is. A rare case where that really is the full etymological history. As far as almost anyone knows, at least. A colorful display of cigarettes and alcohol bottles line the shop wall, inviting you closer. The bottles wink at you in the light. The smokes too glitter in their wrapping. It's like looking into a kind of heaven. Your knees are weak. You see several packaged raincoats fill a low shelf beneath a display of croissants and juice bottles. The raincoats are transparent, except for the big Fritta slogan on the back. The packages are small, discreet, sloppily stacked, making them easier to take unnoticed. No need to worry about knocking over a display.
What is what? It's a raincoat. If you want to buy one, then it's only 4 real.
Her attention is drawn to the raincoats. Stealing one undetected will now be more difficult. The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, 1 bottle equals 10 cents. Your bottles clunk into the machine, and the money appears with a satisfying jingle. You're a richer man now. The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, One bottle equals a colorful. The bottles wink at you in the light. The smokes too glitter in their wrapping. It's like looking into a kind of heaven. Your knees are weak.
Sure. If you want something, I can get it for you. Just let me know and pay and stuff. But I'm obliged to inform you that both alcohol and cigarettes damage your health. But I guess you already know that. The pale aged vodka is special, I guess. It's stored in pale for a couple of years, which makes it super expensive and super strong. You know. I mean, I already said it'd hurt you. I don't know what else they do.
Substances give powerful bonuses to your main stats at the cost of damage to your health or morale. Cigarettes raise your intellect while damaging your health. Alcohol raises physique while damaging your morale. Use medication, like Nosafed and magnesium, to counteract the negative effects of substances. Note: consuming substances can have unforeseen consequences for you.
No, Frit only sells legal drugs, like the law says.
You see several packaged raincoats fill a low shelf beneath a display of croissants and juice bottles. The raincoats are a simple little cadence. He seems inside. You see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the That sugary black rum stain on the counter makes you teary-eyed with joy. It's almost touching how syrupy and sticky it is. How long have you been up already? Attaboy. It's coming back to him. You had your mesolimbic reward pathway worried there, not thinking about drinking all that time. It was like you weren't yourself. Maybe you haven't turned out well for your drinking. Have you thought about that? Get a goddamn rum and lemonade to yourself, boy. Or better yet, lick that stain off the counter. What happened, man? You used to be cool. Go get your boring normal person drink then. Get your drink on and your act together. The worker is in a deep slumber.
Can I help you? Thanks. I hope you found what you were looking for. How strange. I certainly didn't put them there. Sylvie had the keys before I got here, and I can vouch for her. I can vouch for all my staff. None of us would tamper with the crime scene. The trash collection service? CS Municipal. I don't see why they would put anything in the trash, though.
Ah, the elusive CS Municipal. I doubt we'll be able to track down who was sent here last and when. This will have to be one of those little threads that solves itself down the road. Thank you anyway.
Yes? What thing? Yes, not the whole damn union, thank God. Just the nastiest and loudest faction. They come here in the evenings. Dumb, unruly types. Think they're big shit. But they're good customers. They place big orders and always pay on time.
We should find out who this loud faction is, occupying the booth. Loudness means talkative, and we need info. We don't. We have to wait. They'll show up sooner or later. Men get hungry, even striking men. If not today, then they'll be here tomorrow.
There are these things called days. You sleep between them. He's saying they'll come after you've slept. Just making clear you got that.
What?
By the way, you should come back to this thing-based questionnaire if you see anything interesting in the whirling later.
Another thing. Great. I love those. Yes?
A thin man is smoking below an exhaust hood, occasionally sipping from his mug. This must be the Whirling's cook. As you step in, he nods toward the table and says something in a completely foreign language. The only words you can make out are Garancy and Quebec. Okay, it's definitely not his name. Whatever you do, please don't call him Garancy Quebec. Please, it's not funny. The man puts his cup down and replies something, his left hand drawing arcs in the air. He smiles and bangs his ladle against each of his pots in turn. It's almost like music, especially with the sounds of assorted dishes boiling and simmering on the stove. You see a heavy steel door with a prominent dimple lock. It's painted blue.
You do? It's a door in the back of the kitchen. Why do you care where it leads? Yes. I suppose it's worth seeing if we can get in. Just to be thorough. As a side investigation.
It's hardly a side investigation. You already have a name for it.
Gart is the person to ask about this. The cafeteria manager.
Can I help you? Another thing. Great. I love those. Oh, yes, that door, sure. There's nothing mysterious about it. It's just a door. No, I don't have a key. I don't know how to get there. And I don't care either. It's not like I've been wondering about it for 10 years. It's just the frit warehouse, probably.
Wondering about it is, of course, exactly what he's been doing for 10 years.
Or some boring storage space with a bunch of old junk and dust. Junk and dust.
He's attempting to maintain an air of indifference. It's absolutely not convincing.
Fine, okay, a little. but my job doesn't leave me time for wondering about one locked door in one of the cafeterias I manage. So I haven't opened it. I have cleaned the whole place 100 times over, though, after the animals. And I haven't found a key, so good luck with that. Yes? Yes, have you got it? A lot, for the room, drinks, and broken window, 130 real. Like what? I was rarely enjoying talking about the money you owe me.
The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and white boots. There's a pile of cheap sunglasses in a small box, a variety of shapes and colors.
You like sunglasses, officer? I've got the latest styles right here.
These are all boring. Boring third-rate ho-hum sunglasses made of cheap Syrahese plastic, the kind of plastic that melts in the sun. Those UV stickers are almost certainly just there for the show. If anything, these lenses probably direct more UV light into your pupils. A UV magnifier.
These are all first-rate sunglasses. Premium design, superb material, very cool, UV resistant. These will definitely keep your eyes safe and cool while doing your dangerous police work.
No luck. All you find is this lime-colored cellophane visor, produced by a bargain sportswear brand called Amphibian, apparently. There's a malformed green frog on its bent cap.
Oh, that visor is perfect for you, officer. It'll definitely keep the sun out of your eyes while you're shooting criminals. Bang, bang! And all for a mere 6 real.
Hey, at least it might actually offer some protection against the sun. Not like those cheap plastic shades.
You don't like it? Sure, Square Joe. No problem. Let's get you some real shades.
There are clothes inside. Cheap second-hand clothes, smelling of strangers' body odors.
Don't be shy. These are premium class clothes. Good quality fabrics, best retro design. Save the economy with your style, officer.
Save the economy? That sounds off. You find your hands deep in tattered and faded garments made from weird polyester blends that make your body itch and sweat in all the wrong places. The box smells like cat piss or like an old person with no money.
Economical, but also trendy. Look first hand, buy second hand. Keep the economy moving.
Something cold grazes your hand. Synthetic and sleek, a windbreaker. Surf, it says, but also wind, summer, 100% waterproof, and sport. All in different typefaces.
Good choice, officer. Mega sporty. And it's only $4.50 for you, sir.
You see two lowly, defeated speakers, thralls, slaves basically, perched atop them like conquerors surveying the land. A pair of found, durable wear sneakers, ultra serious.
I can see you've a taste for luxury, officer. Can't keep your eyes off those sneakers?
A pair of found ultras. The design is impossibly sleek and simple. A futuristic silhouette with a sleek monochrome colorway, a jet black upper, and a silver-lined midsole.
Those sneakers, mister. Those sneakers are the latest found sneakers. Super air, super fine, super cool. Only 50 real.
Only? That's madness. Fun ultra. Wear the future. You remember the slogan from some magazine. These once respectable speakers have been conquered, reduced to a mere prop by the indomitable found ultras atop them. A small heat emboss on the veneer reads, "Solidarity aid from the People's Republic of Samara." The speakers themselves don't seem to display any magical qualities.
No, don't look at the speakers, officer. Look at the sneakers. The sneakers are the stars here. These, officer? These speakers are Samaran garbage. I'm ashamed to even use them for props. Don't waste your time on them.
Samaran trash? That sounds like they're from the Samaran People's Republic, produced under the dictatorship of the proletariat.
No way, officer! These aren't for sale. They're bad speakers. Low-fi socialist junk. Well, if you want them... But see, they are the pedestal for my sneakers. If I let go of the speakers, where will the sneakers go? I can't leave premium lifestyle sneakers on the ground. If, on the other hand, you wanted to buy the sneakers too, I could maybe throw in the speakers for little extra. 50 cents?
Damn, so you have to buy the sneakers first.
G'day to you, officers.
A burly man hangs out by the waterlock, carving up a generous serving of salami with an old hunter's knife. His eyes are fixed on a man stranded on the other side of the waterlock and on an enormous billboard that has fallen down into the canal between them.
I wasn't here to witness it, but those look like tire tracks on that sign. Weird, huh? Then again, plenty of daredevil drivers in Revachol. Too bad it also takes a year and a day to repair anything around here, especially a waterlock. The rest of the coast is closed off till then. Sure thing.
It is salty, it is savory, it is chewy. The hangover only makes the salami more tasty.
Want some too, officer?
Why not?
Well, there's the fishing village, an abandoned fish market, a bizarro church. Not much use to the congregation, though. There always seems to be something wrong with it. Yeah, not really much else. Just bombed out ruins.
A crumpled billboard reading, Samaran butter soaks in the canal. Two ugly lines mar the bright countenance of the blonde boy depicted. The sign billboard has fallen on the waterlock, keeping it open, and thus out of order. Whatever it is, the boy on the billboard seems very happy about it. Goat milk butter. The Samaran terrain makes it easier to raise goats than cows, and the local goat farmers produce high-quality meat and dairy staples that add variety to other nations' diets. It's an acquired taste. Judging by the size of the impact and the parallel lines of burnt rubber, the cause was probably a motor vehicle. These look like the same tire tracks I saw earlier, in front of the whirling rags. Side slip marks indicated that the vehicle was traveling up the crater at 35 kilometers an hour. The black marks on the roof indicate that the vehicle vaulted from the crater to the roof of the shack. The panel served as a takeoff ramp. The vehicle soared through the air, hitting the billboard and upsetting the posts. Then it continued its flight, taking the billboard with it. The sign broke the vehicle's fall into the canal. The Samaran butter billboard still looks freshly painted, suggesting it took the plunge recently, within the past 72 hours. Still speeding, the vehicle made a loop and vanished into the fog along the coast. There are two good candidates, the Caprice 40 and the Linear G22. It's about the right size, and the tire marks look like they came from the skinny tires frequently found on that motor carriage. The Caprice 40 is a very popular model, with bank clerks, topping pie delivery drivers, secondary school teachers, cops, strippers dressed as cops, undressed strippers. Very sturdy but light motor carriage, more likely than most to survive that jump. The Linear G22 is not a particularly popular model due to its peculiar proportions, which the manufacturer's design team probably thought about for too long. You'd have to follow the tracks to be sure. The lieutenant looks on, waiting for you to wrap up your analysis.
Any theories about what happened here? What kind of car do you think it was? That's quite likely. from what I can tell. Oh. I suppose that narrows it down somewhat. Fortunately, we are not traffic cops. Should we get back to the murder? If we must.
A typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and table lamps. The light pole has been carefully cut, and the wiring has been redone and attached to a standard indoor plug. The light buzzes faintly, but persistently. This would make quite a statement in your living room. Wow, a very large red t-shirt with an impressive print stands out from the other garb. Oh yeah, the print depicts a muscled man striding toward you, a giant sword in each hand, encircled by burning embers. Behind him is a cluster of cabins engulfed in flames. Beneath him are the words, Heimdall burning. The antlers on the hood of the man's cloak and his piercing blue eyes are familiar.
It's the man from Heimdall.
Walking away from his burning village, yes. The man from Heimdall is the hero of a series of popular books based on a fictional version of Kotler, mostly what is nowadays ARDA NFD. In fact, most people don't think that man from Heimdall ever really existed, but they are wrong.
Heimdall isn't a real place.
Neither is the man a real man, of course. But both the man and Heimdall are an ontological necessity. But hey, it's not worth getting into an argument about.
Wow, what?
It's not often that I see officers from the RCM in my pawn shop. What can I do for you? Oh no, not at all. I guess I haven't had many customers lately, RCM or otherwise.
Who are your customers usually?
All kinds of people come through here. Locals, travelers, people looking for a deal, people looking for a keepsake, people who are terminally bored. As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from. It keeps me entertained.
He's well composed, but underneath it you sense psychedelic processes bubbling. Some kind of drug, maybe.
Someone else came here earlier today asking the same question. I promptly sold her the gun you pawned a couple days back.
Despair creeps into you, getting fat on your weakness. Whatever noble intentions you once had as a police officer, it's eating them all up now. You're still coming up with sentences. That's a step up from total annihilation, right?
Yes, it can be difficult to be on the receiving end of so much distrust and outright hatred.
Nothing you can say would make you feel any better now. Cop gives up the detective genre for social realism. Another police officer resigned from the RCM following a nervous breakdown. He now lives under a bridge, drinking and occasionally throwing excrement at passers-by, shouting, "I never loved that woman." When asked to comment, former colleagues objected to the theory that his psychological disintegration was precipitated by his wife leaving him. "It's because the Furrows lost that match," said Captain Ptolemy Price, once the man's superior officer. "It's because he couldn't get a big gun from acquisitions, and anyway, police work really burns you out after a while," Satellite Officer Jean-Vic Mayer, the deranged former cop's partner, commented. Sergeant Mac Torson, another former colleague, did not propose any theories, merely saying, "Whatever happened to him wasn't about birds. He got fucked, that's all."